as many of you know, I try to always get the big picture. I think that's very important. I do like, of course, details are very important. Facts are very important, but the big picture is key, especially when it comes to gender issues, because there really are only two genders. It's different than civil rights in a lot of ways. Similar in some ways, but very different in other ways, because if you discriminate against a race or a religion, particular group, that's harmful enough, but it doesn't encompass half the world's population. It never does. When you discriminate against a gender, that's roughly half the population of the world, half the species, and without that one half of the species, you don't have the species. And when you do discriminate against that gender, that sex, that cuts across all racial lines. If you discriminate against men, that affects black men, white men, Asian men, gay men. There's a vastly greater effect of gender discrimination. Just want to get that out there. So the big picture is very important. I would like to ask feminists out there, just to be honest, try to put yourself in a man's skin, and I'll ask you some questions. Because I see blatant examples of misandry in the news all the time. Horrible things happen to men. No one points it out as a problem that men face. It's minors or it's workers. 200 minors were killed. 58 Navy pilots killed, or Marines killed. Almost always, the vast majority of them are men. There may be some women in there, but generally mass killings are generally almost all men, if not always all men. Okay, lately in the news, miners died, hundreds of them. I don't know if there were any women in there, but they didn't say, in almost all cases, they didn't say 287 men died today. No, they used the PC term. They try to include women, but let's be frank. Most of the deadly jobs in this world are done by men, and most of the dead, violently killed men and maimed, people maimed and killed are men. We're just used to it. And if there are any women usually involved, it will be like 28 workers killed, including 2 women. You know what that says? That says men are not valued as much. Certainly not. Not even enough to even acknowledge that men are sacrificing their lives for society. That's exactly what men and boys are doing. So I get angry that people don't realize this, but if feminists, as I said out there, if you can replace the word man with woman, and see if how that would go. Let's see. If anytime there were minors die, if they were all women, how would you feel? And how would you feel if they totally ignored the fact that they were women? How about if they just said, just a whole bunch of minors died, females, who gives a shit if they were female? What we care about is if they were men. Because if they were men, I really want to hear about that. I want to hear about 287 workers died, including 2 men. Now that's bad. That's serious now. If the men are dying, bad news. See, this is what we live with, women. Feminists. who say that there's a patriarchy, the patriarchy is looking after men. Well, I don't see the evidence of that. I've said this a million times. I'd like to see the evidence, feminists, that because if they were so concerned with the patriarchy and all of society, you say, so concerned with boys and men to the exclusion of women, why are we not saying, let's stop this terrible exploitation of men and boys? Why are only boys and men dying in mines? But no one's saying that because we don't care. Feminists, we don't care. How about this terrorist group, the Boko Haram? All of a sudden now they're a terrorist group because they have kidnapped girls, hundreds of girls. But in the past, when they killed men and boys, that didn't warrant really much attention. As Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, she was many times told that these atrocities were happening, but she refused to regard them as terrorists. Only after she stepped down were this Boko Haram group designated as terrorists. After she left, I guess she doesn't care about boys and men. But so now they are designated as terrorists. But now we're all mobilizing to save these kidnapped girls, which I believe is okay. But just a while back, did you know, before all this hoopla about the kidnapped girls, this group went into a school and massacred only the boys, picked and chose the boys, massacred them with weapons, guns, and machetes, young students, and they spared the girls, I guess because they had vaginas, no other reason. They didn't kill those girls. They actually told them to leave and go find husbands or something. So here we have an example of taking care of women at the exclusion of men and boys. Kill the boys! Did we hear anything on the news about this? No, we did not. So, is that a men's issue? Why is that not a men's issue? Why is not, when minors die, and they're almost all men, why isn't anyone, besides MRAs and MHRAs, why isn't the public saying, you know, gee, why isn't this a men's issue? Why are we continuing with the feminist bullshit line that we care about men only, we don't care about women, poor women, when every single day men die, are maimed, only because they are men, and not cared about only because they are men. To me, these are men's issues. Whenever I see men discriminated against and killed, mostly because they're men, because they're either pressured into taking dangerous jobs or they take them on of their own avail. But we don't acknowledge that men are making these sacrifices, and mostly men are dying to mine gold for the world, to mine silver, coal, oil, everything dangerous men are doing. We're not getting acknowledged for it, I'm sure. Most of the time men choose to do these things, but many a times they don't. Men are drafted into armies, forced to die and kill for our freedoms, for women's freedoms. Why isn't that a men's issue? The draft, goddammit. Are you kidding me? In this day and age, 2014, the government will still require just men and boys to register for the Selective Service only because they have penises. And because women don't have that, they're special. They have special regards. Their life is worth more. They're not forced to go and die and kill for our country or for our freedoms at the present time. You know, hopefully we will get some kind of equality. How about reproductive rights? as I said again, the big picture, you know, the war on women. Was that based on the war on women's reproductive rights? Because, yeah, maybe some people did want to take away some reproductive rights to women, but men don't have any reproductive rights. So in the big picture, when you speak of reproductive rights, men don't have any. So women have a special privilege, if you will, to have choice in the matter. Men have no choice. Men are stuck with the choice that women make. So how is that a war on men? How is that a war on women? You mean, I've said this before. It's the war on women's special prerogative, I guess, but I don't want a war on women's special prerogative. Well, actually I do. I don't want a war on women's reproductive rights. I want men to have reproductive rights equal to women. That's a men's issue. Jason Patrick, that poor guy. I think he had a child through artificial insemination, but he was, from the day one, a part of that child's life. And now the mother, because there's a problem in their relationship, is denying him any sorts of contact with his child. So what does feminism have to say about this? Huh? Is this an equality issue? Do you care about men's equality? Well, to me, that's a men's issue again. Reproductive rights, father's rights, the draft, and men's health. You know, there's this disposability of men and boys. These are all men's issues. Women are very good, feminists are very good at finding out what the women's issues are, you know. You're really good at that. So just pretend that you were equality-minded. Maybe you didn't really hate men, you didn't believe in the patriarchy. Let's say you just thought that men and women should be equal, and there's no patriarchy or a cabal that's holding women down. If you saw these plain black and white headlines that I just outlined, do you think these are men's issues? Minors dying? Probably 99% of minors that die are men, male, boys. These students over there in Africa, killed. Let the girls live. Is that a men's issue? I mean, the value of men's lives are less than women's lives? I think that's a men's issue. Reproductive rights. Should men and boys be able to control their futures, or should, maybe we should not regard men and boys as full human beings. Maybe we should be just sort of robots to take care of whatever women throw at us or society throws at us. Feminists want for us. Maybe some feminists don't want anything from men. That would be bigotry. So, feminists out there, I would like to know what you regard as to be a men's issue. Thank you. Take care.